Oh my God. Actually, I went to go make a supply run earlier and I got a headache. It was very warm outside, so that may affect my live stream. I went out to go get some shipping tape. I'll be right back, folks. Just stand by. I want some jam and I don't want some jam. Make myself some peanut butter here on whole wheat. Nothing too fancy. I don't feel like eating anything heavy. It's oppressively hot outside. And I definitely got me a headache. But I definitely want to do this discussion. Just bear with me, folks, while I set up. My work desk is a mess like it always is. Alexa, what's the current forecast?
The current weather is 91 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast has some sun and thunderstorms, with a high of 98 degrees and a low of 73 degrees.
We're going to be kissing 100 degrees today, folks, so please bear with me. Like I said, I went out to go make a small supply run. I ran out of shipping tape, so I went out to Walmart to go get a couple of rolls. So it is oppressively hot outside today. Like, the humidity is just out of control, and I got a headache as a result. I normally don't keep my front door closed when I do these live streams, but today it's just too hot. I got to try to keep the cold air in here as much as possible. Uh, 98 degrees. This heat wave just won't end. I was talking with one of the girls in Walmart about how bad this heat is, and you could see like the look on her face. She's not liking it. A lot of people aren't liking it. You know, we had a lot of rain recently, so the air is still very stagnant as far as humidity is concerned. So, again, just bear with me here, folks, while I get myself a little bit better organized, and we'll get this discussion going. So I think this is pretty important. Even though I made a video about this, I'd rather be a little bit more unplugged. My desk is a disaster. My fellow eBayers will understand the struggle of having a clean desk. Yeah, this is going to be geared towards what's been going on eBay, because I've been watching multiple videos on YouTube talking about this particular subject and how my fellow eBayers are handling it. Man, this stuff is gnarly. No cholesterol, 14% saturated fat, but that's natural peanut fat. 10% fiber. It does got natural sugar in it. This stuff. It's a lot healthier than that other garbage, but you got to get used to eating it because it's like pasty. It's got natural peanut oil in it. Like you could probably do it yourself and just stick peanuts in the blender and not even have to buy that stuff. Cheers, everyone. I'll wait for a couple more minutes and then I'll get started. And while I'm here, I might as well just replace this. There goes my refrigerator, like always. Burning through ice left and right. I'm probably going to have to fill up some ice cube trays to make up the difference because, like I said, it is oppressively hot. At least I got some tape for a while. That'll last me for a little bit. Well, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, almost good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying cool. I hope to network with some of my fellow eBayers out there who are sellers like I am, because this is going to be a pretty important discussion because I'm seeing it myself, and I've seen multiple videos now on YouTube here. And bear with me, I have a bit of a headache, so if I screw up, just bear with me. I've seen multiple videos of my fellow eBayers talking about how their sales have dropped. And this has been going on. I mean, it does happen on occasion, but it's been very extreme over the last 3 months. I mean, I've been going steady for the past now over 2 years that I've been running an eBay store as a legitimate LLC. But recently, I've noticed a steady decline. Boom, 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 boom. And anybody that buys anything from me from eBay, I go for the gusto. I keep my prices as low as I can get them. I try to ship things as quickly as possible. If I do run into problems, I immediately take to YouTube. I'll do a YouTube short. Should any of my customers be YouTube viewers and subscribers, that, hey, this came up, that came up, not able to ship, I'm not feeling good, like that sort of thing. There, one customer, unfortunately, I may have to replace a sports card that I sold a couple weeks ago because the item still hasn't arrived. But those are like typical issues that come up anyway. The style of eBaying that I do. In some cases, I offer priority shipping. In some cases, I offer ground shipping. In other cases, I would like to offer free shipping, but the price of the shipping could be very sporadic, depending on the location where the item is going to go. And I've heard other eBayers talk about it's the algorithm, it's the way you price your shipping, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and all that kind of stuff. But there are a couple more things that I think we need to be a little bit more realistic about, which I've theorized in a couple live streams, and I did a full-fledged video on this, but I wanted to do, something I'm a little bit more relaxed, that I don't feel like I have a clock over my head, that I can kind of like explain myself a little bit more, because when you do full-form videos, you don't want to bore your audience, and I tend to ramble on quite a bit, with a lot of stuff, I'm not going to lie. But I want to feel like I'm not being pressured or rushed like I would if I were to shoot a video about this topic, which is why I'm doing it in live form now. But you know, if you're a fellow eBayer like I am, well, let me do one thing here first. I apologize. I forgot. Oh, that's why. That's why it's happening. I got my VPN. All right, it's just going to have to wait. Sorry about that, folks. My apologies. But anyway, man, that all natural peanut butter, that's really gooey. But anyway, I have seen, just like a lot of my fellow eBayers out there, a decline in sales. I refuse to pay eBay an extra 2% to whatever it is with that stupid promoted listing thing. I'm a 100% seller. I was able to get my 100% status back because, unfortunately, and I think some of you know this as well, you'll have people that will extort you for feedback if you don't obey their commands. And I took 2 hits on that, and it took a year for my record to clear on eBay to get back to 100%. You know, I think currently I have 2,500 positive feedbacks with well over 3,000 items sold at this point. And that's a pretty good run for a schmuck like me, you know? But I've noticed more and more of my fellow eBayers are making videos about this here on YouTube that their sales are taking a dip. Man, that stuff is really gooey. See, with the 100% status that I have, yep, that's the Mjolnir that I wear, you know, because all my family comes from Germany, so you know I wear it more as a symbol, you know, for my ancestry. I'm really not a Norse pagan or anything like that, even though I respect it. It's more symbolic towards my roots. But anyway, yeah, I've been seeing I've been seeing multiple YouTubers talking about this. If you're eBay sellers, where just for whatever bizarre reason over the last several months, on average, a lot of these videos I've been seeing have been coming out within the past 3 months, where all of a sudden eBay sales have dropped. And I've started to see it over at my eBay store now, and I've tried to diversify because I have been not exactly exclusively selling baseball cards, but that's been a big thing for me. And I just listed a whole bunch of cards. I probably listed about 30 cards again at this point. And then I went through my inventory of things that I have here at home because, you know, I am a collector of stuff. However, it reaches a point where you have to stop yourself from collecting and take a look and say, hey, maybe I've overdid it just a little bit. Maybe I bought too much stuff. It's time to downsize. There are things that I bought that either I intended to review, I'll probably never review, stuff I won't wear, stuff I don't use. For example, right now I have a 13 cubic inch HPA tank for Pepperball launchers, the Pepperball brand launcher with an on-off included with it, along with a thread protector and a fill nipple cap. Because I have a 30 cubic inch tank, there's really no need to have the smaller tank. And the big less lethal that I got, I've modified to the point where it's the smaller tank just, I mean, it will work, but, you know, with a 150 to 200 round hopper, if God forbid I have to deplete that hopper in a really bad emergency situation, a 13 cubic inch tank will not do the job. So I bought a 30 cubic inch tank a couple of years ago. And surprisingly, both tanks are holding their water. They still hold pressure. But the small tank, I can't use it for anything. So it's just sitting there taking up space. Why waste the space? So I have it for sale right now. Typically, they go for $120 plus shipping and taxes. I'm offering mine with the on-off, the thread protector, and a fill nipple cap for about $120 or whatever it is I have up there now. I forgot how much I priced it at. Like right now, here's another thing that I will be listing over at my eBay store. That's a Cara Dune unopened Black Series figure. Now, you know, since I started walking away from politics and all that sort of thing, I bought this for a reason, because I support Gina Carano and with fucking Disney and these, you know, rainbow-haired septum ring wearing big fat black trans guilty white liberal septum ring, you know, duct taping their peepees to the sides of their legs and putting on dresses while wearing beards and putting lipstick on. I bought this because of that. But after all these years, it's been sitting in a desk. And basically, it's just taking up space. What am I going to do with this thing? I don't collect Star Wars figures. I'm going to end up selling it. Hopefully sooner than later. I have a New York Giants size 50 jersey that I bought a while back. And because I lost all of that weight, the thing is simply too big on me. And even though it's a size 46 jersey that I trimmed myself, I have a Mitchell & Ness size 44, which fits me perfect. But it's a Super Bowl 42 jersey. It's a Mitchell & Ness kit. It's not a Reebok kit. So it's without the Reebok labels on the sleeves. So I'm going to end up selling that jersey. And there's going to be a lot more stuff I'm going to be putting up there eventually. There are Transformers still. I'm debating what I want to keep and what I want to sell. I actually made room for Missing Link Ultra Magnus, and now I have the cartoon version. Is it the cartoon version? No, it's a toy version of Optimus Prime sitting on that second shelf right there. That's like their exclusive shelf of the two of them. Which they look really cool sitting there by themselves. But, you know, I'm thinking about possibly selling this guy that I reviewed on the channel. This is the upgraded Transformers Devastation Optimus Prime. That has got 2 separate upgrade kits in it. Whether or not anybody buys it, who's to say? But that's going to be another thing I'll be listing in short order. But I, like many other eBayers who are out there, have noticed a steep decline in sales. And I'm starting to feel it now. I actually listed a Fanatics Mike Piazza 9/11 autographed jersey. And I had 2 of them. I sold one off a long time ago. I was like, I don't know what the hell I did. Why did I buy 2 of these? You know, and it was a stupid decision. I ended up selling it at cost, I believe, or maybe less than cost. But now this one that I kept has been sitting in my closet, and I was able to track down a size 48, which is an XL Mitchell & Ness 9/11 jersey that I can wear, like this one, for example. This is a, I believe, a Majestic Cooperston Collection 1986 New York Mets kit. And I like wearing my stuff, but now I got this Mike Piazza jersey. It's been sitting in my closet for all these years. I have no room to display it because, you know, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Hopefully somewhere down the line, maybe they can get something bigger. But for right now, it's just taking up room. And I want to sell that thing off. So now I've listed it over at my eBay store. You know, and that's how I've been operating. It's time to downsize. You know, this happens with collectors sometimes where you have too much stuff. And in order to prevent an overload of things, because, you know, you can turn yourself into a hoarder really quick if you're not careful. It's time to take a look at things and look at things objectively. What do you want to keep? What do you want to sell? What's worth it to you? Etc., etc. But like I said, over the past, now, I think 2 weeks, I've noticed a steep decline in my sales. I used to sell anywhere between 1 baseball card to like 25 or 30 baseball cards. In some cases, I would sell 10. In some cases, 5. Some cases, 12. But that hasn't been happening lately. You know, I think over the weekend, I probably sold 3, maybe 4. Or if I did, I would sell multiple copies of 1 card into 1 order. with combined shipping and all that kind of stuff. And I don't I do have some theories as to why it may be happening. One, obviously, it's because we just got over the 4th of July weekend. That much is clear. So people obviously were going to be barbecuing, spending time with their families, etc. Obviously, what's going on with Donald Duck Trump in the White House there, as I used to be an avid supporter of his, I've since retracted my support of him because I just don't like what he does anymore. He had no business interfering with the United States national team, having a red card overturned. You know what kind of process that is to do that? It takes weeks and sometimes months. He made one phone call, they overturned this red card. We're still in the conflict with Syria. Now he's over across the pond fucking with NATO right now. Where's the stimulus checks he promised? Where Ukraine and Russia are still fighting with each other. It doesn't make sense. Let me just try something here one more time, folks. I apologize. This thing is being stubborn. Again, it did it. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we have these conflicts going on across the pond. And over here in the States, we still have high gas prices. The food prices haven't come down. And it's made me completely dissatisfied with Trump. As a conservative voter, this is not what I wanted. Even the Supreme Court has turned against Trump with a lot of things. And it's unfortunate. I think that has a lot to do about why eBay sales are dropping like the way they are, because with all the things I just spouted off, I personally feel that people are just not spending disposable income and going out of their way to buy things. Let me try this one more time, folks. I apologize. I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute. Freeze, it's only because I'm trying to send a link somewhere. Let me see what happened here. All right, there we go. Yeah, it froze. It even froze on my big TV. All right, we're looking good right now. So my apologies, guys, if the live stream gets all screwy. But yeah, it's just a lot of that has to do with Trump, in my opinion. People are not spending money on things. Maybe the things I have for sale are shit. Maybe I'm just like I said, I'm a 100% eBay seller, a top seller with over 2,500 feedbacks, positive feedbacks, with over 3,000 items sold to date. So when I list something, depending on the language I use in the title, it instantly shoots up to the top of the algorithm, depending on what baseball card, what player, what item, et cetera, that it is I sell, which is a great thing because people's eyes will focus on your listing first and foremost. And here on YouTube, I've been very aggressive with my videos and my live streams and posts promoting my eBay business. But regardless and despite all that, still I've noticed a drop off on my sales. And I've seen several YouTubers talking about this, that their eBay sales have dropped off. I refuse to pay eBay any promotion fee. They're already getting 13% of my take. 13% is not a small number when it comes to money. That's like somebody taking 15 cents out of every dollar that you own. That shit adds up after a while. And then you're left with 85 cents when you just made $1 and they take 15 cents out of you, let's just say, for argument's sake. And then you're stuck with all this change. And then they want you to pay them more. And I find that to be absolutely absurd. And some people are like, yeah, it's great if you want to keep selling. Yeah, but they're taking money out of you. And then if you increase that promoted listing, remember, it's 13% off the top plus, taxes, etc., right? And now you have voluntarily submitted to eBay to say, please, eBay, list my listings higher, and then you're paying them more, which means you're getting less. I've done that a few times. I've tried everything. And I've been doing good, like I said, up until like the last 2 weeks. All of a sudden, I've seen this drop off with my eBay sales, and I'm not the only one. Several of my viewers and subscribers who are also eBayers have seen the same thing. I've seen multiple videos over the last 3 months with eBayers saying that their sales has slumped, and they can't figure out why. They think it's because of the shipping, that they're not comping their stuff right. I try to comp my stuff reasonably. I would like, in some cases, I would like to get back the money I put into an item. Other cases, appreciation does factor in because some things do go up in value. Others are just difficult sales or items to sell, I should say. And it's getting tough. And I wish I had an answer for all of you, and I don't. I primarily use ground shipping to keep the shipping costs low because it takes a couple extra days for the item to arrive to whatever particular customer it's going to. Oops. Did I just run into my shoes? Yes, I did. Here, like this box. This is... Yeah, that's the pellet gun that I'm selling on eBay. The Gamel PT-85 pellet pistol. I haven't picked that thing up in God knows when. I have no use for it. I have no use for it. So why am I holding on to it? And whatever .177 caliber pellets that I had, some are fresh in the box, others have been used, and I tried to, because I already got an offer for it. Whether the customer picks it up or not is another thing. But with that listing, I included 2 extra mags and 4 tins of pellets. But then again, who knows, And not a lot of states will allow you to ship, and you must buy eBay's TOS. If you're selling anything that's airsoft or pellet guns or anything like that, you have to put a disclaimer in your listings, which of course I did. But that just reduces your chances of having maximum eyes on your sales because certain states' laws don't allow for people to own pellet guns or airsoft. So that takes away from potential profits. And one little trick I use is what I'm doing right now. There's a LeBeau's Western clothing shop that's in the strip mall here. And every time I see shoe boxes, to try to save on the cost of having to buy boxes, I'll grab the cleanest shoe boxes that they throw out and use them for myself. And then I sometimes wrap them in blue tape because the post office won't allow you to have any kind of advertising on your shipping. Unless, of course, that's your business. Then they'll allow advertising. But I've already been told by, postal workers that deliver to my home or even at the post office that you can't have any sort of advertising on your boxes. And a big reason for that is because of theft, obviously. Then you got to worry about postal workers stealing items, and then the public gets disenfranchised by that because they don't get what they paid for. And then we, the eBay seller, have to suffer for that. So theft has a lot to do. And it's not just theft by the public, it's the post office within themselves. And I have a whole playlist talking about this with a lot of postal workers have been caught stealing. And it disenfranchises your customer base if that happens. And it's not cool. It's not right. You know, I do this because I'm on a fixed income. And it helps. And it's been helping. In the past 2 years, I've done quite wonderful running this eBay business, but for whatever reason, like I said, my sales have plummeted, and it seems I'm not the only one. You know, your seller performance has a lot to do with it. Yes, there is an algorithm. There are certain people that are in denial that there is an eBay algorithm. That's simply not true. There is an eBay algorithm. I know that because as a 100% seller, most of my listings, I'd say about 85 to 90% of the time, go all the way up to the top because I'm a top seller. But I think a lot of it has to do with these conflicts that are going on across the pond with Syria and Israel. I think a lot of people are scared and paranoid because of that. And obviously the tariffs have another big part in this. I've talked about this before. That's why I stopped supporting Trump. Why I've been selling my Trump hats on eBay. Because his stupid fucking tariffs to get a, you know, especially as a content creator on YouTube, the Ultra Magnus that I got ran me well over $200 because I had to pay a $30-something tariff to get it here from Japan. Bayern Munich jerseys, 2 of them I ordered. $30 tariff, which I've showed on camera here a while back. A $45 jersey plus shipping and handling and taxes would probably have come out to about maybe, I'm just going to guess, maybe $70. That's how it works, folks. But then now you tack on another $30 for tariffs. No YouTube content creator is talking about this because they don't want to probably, you know, scare their customer base. But somebody who is a pragmatist has to admit that, yeah, a lot of it has to do with these conflicts that are going on. Has nothing to do with the YouTube algorithm. It has nothing to do with your shipping. All right, I use a digital scale and I measure things. As a matter of fact, for the sake of transparency, which is another reason why I've been successful on eBay, is because I'm always transparent about my methodology and the things I use and how I do things. And you can actually see what you're getting. Man, I'm getting them fruit flies all over the place. Shit. Let me just clean this up a little bit. It's because I was washing dishes before, but nature is getting so desperate that a couple of us have been talking about it here, man. The mosquitoes and the fruit flies have gotten really fucking aggressive, man. I'm finding them in my apartment like crazy, and so are my neighbors. You got to see what my legs look like from mosquito bites. But let me just show you a couple of examples. What's going on, Coda? How you doing? So I got that. Where's my postal scale? I always forget where I put this thing. It's the one thing that disappears on me the most. Ah, here it is. Okay. So I got that. I also got personalized labels, should I need to use them. But, you know, I measure, you know, I got an old-fashioned stick ruler here. There's the template I use for my sports card envelopes to check the thickness on them, because sometimes the post office worker is too lazy to take his one finger and push the envelope through the slot. There's my digital scale that I use to actually weigh my ground shipping items. And then, of course, I have a carpenter's stick rule, which is the proper pronunciation in terminology. This is not a ruler. This is a stick rule, a fold-up stick rule by Lufkin. So I've got multiple ways to measure my packages and all that stuff. You know, and I basically take the ball into my own hands. And I see YouTubers saying, oh, it's because of the shipping. Well, take the time to do the right thing for your customers. And measure your damn boxes, which I just packed up this one, and I should be doing that right now. That would make me a hypocrite, wouldn't it? And I literally write down the measurements. So, give me 1 second here. And this is what makes or breaks the shipping. See, and you also have to round up to the nearest whole number. So in this case, it's 11 and 3/8 inches, so you have to round up by 12. So this one is 12 by it's a little shy over 7. It's 7 and 1/8. But you still want to round up to that next number anyway. 8 by 5. See, it's 4 and 3/8, so round it up to 5. Now, I already have this listed over at my eBay store. I believe this is like 2 pounds. I think 2 pounds, 13 ounces, or something like that. So there it is. Now, when I print out the label, I know exactly which box to pick from. You know, everything I do is very, very intricate. But with all that being said, it doesn't explain why many eBayers' sales are down. And again, I think it's a lot of it has to do with what's going on with the tariffs with Trump. I think a lot of it has to do with this heat wave that's going on. I think a lot of it has to do with the conflict in Syria and Israel and Ukraine with Russia. The gas prices are high. And people just are not spending. And we just got over the 4th of July weekend, too. People are vacationing. Excuse me. Kids are off from school. But there's got to be more to it than that. Now, are people overcharging for shipping? Yes, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are overcharging way too much for shipping. That's why I bought a digital scale. That's why I have different measuring devices. I try to make my shipping as cheap as possible. In very rare cases, like with certain jerseys or certain items, I will use priority shipping. Well, only because I can't find the proper box, or simply put, it's just too awkward to try to ship it and try to force things. And I don't want to damage something that I'm trying to sell. Now, I'm very cautious with that kind of stuff. Like, I have a Super Bowl 46 Eli Manning jersey I want to sell. It's just best to box it up, wrap up the box, and ship it that way instead of trying to pack it into an envelope. But there's got to be some other force that is screwing with everybody's eBay sales lately. And that's why I decided to do this live stream, to see if there's anybody out there who's a fellow eBayer like myself who can offer some input into this. You know, that's what the chat's for. But to me, it just seems like, I don't know if it's maybe because it's the summer, maybe it's because of Trump's tariffs and the high gas prices and this heat wave the country's been experiencing. Is it because of the, you know, these conflicts? I mean, what is it? It can't be just eBay exclusively. I can't accept that. There's got to be other reasons why. You know, do people have disposable income anymore? Or, I mean, what is it? You know, and I can't, and I've seen YouTubers do this, really shameful YouTubers that berate their audience for not buying things or joining up, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's Big Mama. Hey, host, I think the PSA shutdown hurting us who are selling lower end cars that can't grade and sell anymore. That too, I completely forgot about that. That's right, with the whole PSA nonsense. And now I saw Neo Cards and Comics, and of course, if he does it, everybody else is going to follow suit. Where Topps now is going to be selling jumbo and hobby boxes without the cellophane wrapping around them to prevent scalping, which I'm all for. But yeah, I don't even get views on my sports cards anymore. I just listed seven base rookies of Ben Rice, which unfortunately I overpriced. I actually lowered my price because for whatever reason, the eBay scanner that I use, the prices have been wildly inconsistent. So I've had to go back in my listings again and start lowering prices down, because when I scan it, it's supposed to be through Card Ladder. But this Ben Rice rookie, when I scanned it, was $429 or $439, and that's what I listed mine for. And then when I recomped the card, and I saw only one viewer with no watchers, and anything Ben Rice has been selling, I saw that these cards were going for like maybe $1.59 to like $1.99 to like $2.09 or something in that area. So I literally had to cut my listing in half. So you can't even trust the eBay listing tool anymore. But I've seen it myself where certain cards are just not, they're just sitting there. They're not getting views. Nobody's even taking the time to look at them, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, people can argue with the fact that, yeah, I should be doing more sports card content, but, you know, I'm more a Transformers and Jersey guy and a sneaker guy. I never was and I've said this in the past, I'm not a traditional sports card collector in that way. And many of you have actually acknowledged it, that me selling off a lot of autos and slabs like I did was a good choice, because now look at them. They're in the shit house. They're all in the shit house. So, like the Anthony Volpe, somebody brought it up. Lucky you sold that. Every other slab I've sold, lucky I sold it when I did. I made the right call, in my opinion. But now, I can't I can't explain it. You know, lately I've tried to diversify, because I have been, now I cleared out some room on that shelf right there. As a matter of fact, again, I like to be transparent and truthful to my viewing audience. Let me just turn the camera around. And there's the Missing Link Ultra Magnus with one of my Missing Link Optimus Primes on that shelf. And he's a big boy, that Ultra Magnus. So I found some space down there because I'm selling off stuff that I don't want or need or use or care about. Eventually, you do have to look at things objectively and start you know, considering, hey, man, you know, I've got all these Megatrons. Why do I need so many Megatrons? Maybe I should just cut down a little bit. You know, I still got the Seekers that I've listed for $59.99. That's probably the cheapest War for Cybertron Seekers you're going to find anywhere. And nobody's buying them. And I lowered that down from like $120-something. I've cut my own listing in half. Big Mama says, it's a struggle for me too. I think eBay is holding us little guys down. I hate to say it. I mean, I don't know how big your eBay store is. I mean, mine is pretty decently sized. And I've seen it myself. That there's just this huge drop, especially in the sports card sector. There's this huge drop off of sports card sales. And you might be right with the whole PSA thing that's going on. But what has me even more concerned is now I'm starting to diversify my listings. And except for a Netflix Soundwave that I've sold recently, nothing else is moving. The Harrison Bucker jersey is not moving. I listed a Germany jersey. I cut that thing in half. That's not moving. The Gammo PT-85 pellet gun, which I haven't used in many, many moons, I've now offered for sale, along with pellets and magazines for cheapest prices I can offer. Not moving. Again, I'm going to end up selling this. That's the Cara Dune, Gina Carano Black Series figure that I bought just to be a troll, but now what am I going to do with this thing? I'm not a Star Wars collector. It's time to go. It's sitting in a drawer, taking up space. You know, it's just unfortunately these days, for the reasons that I just mentioned, it can't be just eBay alone. There's something else going on here that really has me concerned. And again, here's a fellow right now in the chat. Not just a fellow YouTuber or whatever, but another eBay seller saying the same thing. And I'm saying that it's rough. What do? You can't make things any cheaper. And again, like I said, with the Ben Rice, I screwed up and lowered the price down as cheap as I could. I think right now I have his base rookies listed for $1.79. Or originally, because of the eBay scanner, I had him listed for over $4. Which to me seemed a little overpriced. So when I went through eBay's listings, I recomped it for a more sensible price. Because I never want my eBay customers to be ripped off. You know, and I do my best to comp my cards and anything else as cheaply as I can. I mean, I do have to make money at the end of the day. But I've been seeing this with eBay. And multiple content creators over the last 3 months have been saying it. And now I'm finally coming out and saying it because now I'm starting to see it. Something is going on. I think people are just afraid to spend money right now. I think a lot of it has to do with the heat wave. I really don't think it has to do with the algorithm. Unless, of course, you got multiple negative feedbacks on your account. That will affect your sales. A lot of it has to do with the tariffs, the gas prices. You know, Trump has failed. Even with a majority Republican Supreme Court, he's been failing with that as well. Where are the stimulus checks he promised? Fourth of July weekend, vacations. Pretty soon you're going to see the media and that stuff is overly creamy. It really gets in your teeth. That peanut butter. But yeah, you're going to start seeing advertisements for back to school sales and all that kind of stuff. So it is a rough time. It's a very rough time. I've actually, one of my Corgi buses, I've lowered down the price of. The, oh, which reminds me, while I'm here, I got to pack that too. How can I set this up on the floor that you, ladies and gentlemen, can see how I pack an unmarked box? So I cannot, by the post office rules, ship this box because there's advertising all over it. So unfortunately, I have to wrap it in shipping paper. Now this is the pepper ball tank that I'm selling, which I had to empty out because you're not allowed to ship these when they're pressurized. That's a $120 pepper ball tank for pepper ball less lethals. But with mine, it's got the on-off that I added. There's the thread protector, and there's the nipple, the fill nipple protector. Nobody else is offering that, and I'm offering mine for dirt cheap, and nobody's buying. And I think I had one view, and I don't know if I can offer it any lower than that because then what I put into it, I'm not going to get out of it. Which I mean, with certain things, there is appreciation and depreciation. But with Berna in the picture, I think the Pepperball brand has taken a significant hit. Ever since Berna absorbed Mission TPR, if I have my facts straight, any less lethal viewers out there can correct me. Berna bought up Mission TPR. And I used to have a separate Less Lethal channel here on YouTube many moons ago, and I'm kind of glad I don't anymore, because that shit gets stressful, man. I hate to admit it. And I might sell one of my Less Lethal launchers that I got. Because quite frankly, I don't want the headaches. And I have so much stuff that I gathered over the years with Less Lethal stuff that I'm going to have to go. I literally have a separate box of just Less Lethal adapters, accessories, magazines that I'll never use. So what's the point of holding on to this stuff? So what I'm going to do, and that peanut butter is really, really overly creamy. I'm going to set up shop right here so you guys can keep me company while I'm wrapping up this pepper ball tank. Which, by the way, shameless e-beg. Might as well get my promo in here really quick for those that are watching. Welcome aboard to this live stream talking about eBay stuff. Check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of every video, short and live, including this one. And if you want to make a small one-time donation, you can click on my coffee link. That also helps. So here's an example of what you can't do. Most post offices, if not any post office, will not allow you to ship a box like this because they consider this advertising. So what I do is I get brown shipping paper. You can get this from Staples or Office Max or whatever. I think it runs like $15 for a roll. And you can cheat. As a matter of fact, if you get post office boxes and you want to save your customers some money, you get the boxes for free from the post office, and then you just wrap it with a brown paper, and then you can use ground shipping. Little trick I learned over the years. But in this case, it doesn't merit such a big box because this fits into a shoebox. But again, like I said, I can't send this via postal service because they consider it advertising. And they can be held liable for theft, which, as you know, the post office, and I have a whole playlist talking about it, the post office has not exactly been too reliable lately. Especially now that postal workers have been caught stealing graded cards and Pokemon cards themselves. Allegedly. But I do have the video evidence to back it up in my playlist. The chaos that is USPS, UPS, FedEx, etc. You can actually see those news reports. So, but this is how I do it. If I ever have a marked box, like a shoe box or something like that, I just basically wrap it like it's a Christmas gift. And that's one of the ways to get around the post office overcharging. And most customers, they don't mind waiting the extra day or two. What they're worried about is cost. And this is one of the multiple ways I use to keep the prices down for my customers. If I could put things in nice, clean, sharp shoe boxes and then wrap it with the brown paper, that'll significantly reduce the price of an item via shipping on average of anywhere between $3 to $5 in some cases. The only thing is, ground shipping is very subjective when it comes to location. So one person will see one shipping price and another person will see another shipping price. All right, so that's nice and folded. I'm going to trim off some fat so I can get a good fold. And all of these methods I taught myself, just by sheer observation alone and Sherlock Holmesing it, so to speak. And also by trimming off the extra fat, you're reducing weight as well. You want to try to keep your packages as light as possible because everything with the post office, and the public doesn't want to seem to accept or realize that, is everything is based on weight. Now, to make this look like a nice straight cut, I'll put in a fold so you don't see the scissor marks on it. That's just me being OCD. And then you make your final fold and then give it a nice crease so that the paper doesn't buckle. I like using the packing tape, the duct tape from Walmart, because it's, even though it's very thin, it sticks like a mofo. Once it's attached to something, it's very difficult to get off. But it's not the thick shipping paper, the thick shipping tape, it's very thin. And again, you may not think so, but that extra 1 or 2 ounces matters when it comes to price to your customers. That's the biggest thing you got to watch out for, because you got people that are out there that will overcharge for shipping. They'll bury the cost. Or not really bury the cost, but they'll try to overcharge for shipping. And I see this all over eBay, where people are trying to get over on the shipping. And I've asked people this question myself when it comes to certain sales or certain things that I bought off of my fellow eBayers. Like, why are you charging so much? Because I measured and weigh my stuff as an eBay seller. There's no way that this particular item of this size is something that is not that heavy would cost that much in shipping. And then they'll give you a song and dance, and then they'll block you because they're trying to rip you off. If a seller can't answer basic questions, they're not to be trusted. I'm sorry. Shipping is the biggest one to me. Shipping, when it comes to eBay and shipping, that's the biggest scam you're going to find on eBay, in my opinion. The overcharging of shipping. Take the damn time to get a digital scale. Now, I know in this particular eBay listing, I've already accounted for the weight and the size of this box with this particular listing, so I'm not going to go over that. But measure the box, and you have to round up to the nearest high number. Because when it comes to ground shipping, everything is about size and weight. You may think you're an expert. I know some of you are trying to get over and get things for cheap, but that's not how it works, folks. All right. This takes a little extra time to do, but I tell you what, if I can get the shipping costs down, and remember, everything that I sell, the Scotch tape is included, the shipping paper is included, this tape is included. Those costs have to come from somewhere, and they come from my eBay sales. And the public just doesn't seem to realize that. They want something for nothing, and that's not how it works. And I too am a consumer. But realistically, now that I see things from the other point, the other side of the coin, people have to be realistic also that not everything is for free and not everything is for cheap. And I take the time even to do this, and it's not just to get the shipping costs down. Presentation, reputation, those things matter as well. I could probably do this blindfolded at this point. Yeah, look at how nice and neat that looks now. And now the advertising's covered up. The only thing I have to do is just mark this package with what's in here, and that's it, done. And then, of course, when I ship it, I put fragile stickers and all that good stuff on there. Anybody that's bought from me knows that already. But there you have it. That's how I wrap my boxes. Look how nice and neat that looks. Very old school. But like I said, you can't ship boxes that have labeling on it because the post office won't allow it. They consider it advertising. Yeah, you just have to take your time. When it comes to this brown paper, it's very thick. You really have to get in there and just make your initial folds on the sides of the boxes and put the crease in there. You can even go the next step and fold it. But as I go along, I like to pin it down so it doesn't move, and then I'll flip the box and all that kind of stuff, and then you get results like this. And here's the PT85 that I did yesterday that I packed up after I listed it. Same thing, except this one's marked with the measurements on there. The only thing I have to do is I'm going to have to correct for the weight now. I think I accounted for the weight in the listing for this thing, but I'm going to double check anyway, because again, the name of the game is to keep the price down as low as you can, but you also want to make your money too. But there you have it. That's how I wrap my boxes. So I guess I can leave. I won't leave the scissors on the floor because I'm not stepping on scissors. I'm hurting myself. Oh, jeez. Oh, man, my back. But that's how I do it. That's how I do it when it comes to packages and things. If I find decent shoe boxes over by the cowboy store that's here, that sells like cowboy boots and stuff, if I can find decent shoe boxes, I just wrap them in brown paper. And the boxes are much smaller. See, eBayers will also appreciate how you wrap a box or how you pack a box. They want to see that packing. I got them down here. Let me take my phone off my stand here. You can see like I got fragile labels and scan before delivery labels right there. They appreciate things like that. Those little things can really make or break an eBay store, in my opinion. Now, again, these are my methods. They may not work for other eBayers, but that's how I've been successful to this point. It's just getting people to buy things around this time of the year has just been a real challenge. It's been difficult. And I don't know if it's because of the reasons I mentioned in this live stream and in the dedicated video I uploaded last night, or what. I just don't know. I really don't know, folks. Like for my baseball cards. One of the things I'm probably going to sell, again, I mentioned him, is the Devastation Prime. Now, preemptively, this is how I would do it. Obviously, he's not going to fit in this pre-cut box, so I'm going to have to find a box that's satisfactory for him so that this way the shipping cost can remain as low as I can possibly get it from my customers. And I don't think I have any more 6x6x6 boxes, because otherwise I can transform him into his truck And that would be perfect. I don't think I have any more. Ah, I do have one. Okay, good. So for something small like that, for action figures, Walmart, in my opinion, sells some of the best boxes, at least for me, what I use for my stuff. That's a 6x6x6 from Walmart. Now, if I were to sell off this Optimus Prime, just by sizing them up, you can tell that that's definitely going to work. That'll definitely work. And then I can wrap it real nice. I actually have, and what I also do when I order stuff, I save the wrapping paper and the bubble wrap. To me, I have a giant box of this stuff because why am I going to pay for it when I could just get it right out of a box? You know, another savings for my fellow eBay sellers out there. As a matter of fact, I think I can show that to you. Let me see here. My bedroom's a mess, folks. Warning that this video may contain a messy bedroom. So I got to shift some of these boxes around. I was actually searching around for the boxes for that bus I'm selling, but here's my box of saved bubble wrap in my closet here, and paper wrap that I got out of packages and boxes that I ordered things for myself. So now I'm spending less money on shipping supplies. Why should I buy all new stuff when I can make a little room in my closet and have a whole big box of stuff that I can pack my eBay orders with? And over here, this is a box of those 7x5x1 boxes that I use for my eBay store. Storage is a big deal, folks. Let me tell you, you got to have storage. Got to have storage. So, but yeah, why am I going to spend money on packing supplies when I can just pull them out of boxes? And again, if I go to that cowboy shop and I see they're throwing out cardboard and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to go after it, and I'll clean it up and disinfect it and all that kind of stuff just in case. Like, I'm real anal retentive when it comes to that sort of thing. But there are ways that you as a seller, because I can't say it, and I'm just going to say it, and I'm probably going to get some hate. Some of you fuckers that are out there that are eBay sellers, when you're wrapping 1,000 pounds of masking tape on a box, take the time to find a new box. You don't have to spend money on a box. Find one. And guys are wrapping tape around this and wrapping tape around that, and it gets annoying to open up. I want my customers to be able to access their goods and services with ease. And guys just wrap. Oh my God, I hate that. Or they send it in those flexible envelopes. Those plastic envelopes. I hate those things. And your items can come damaged. That's another reason why I'm very particular about the way I ship my items. I love this peanut butter because there's no garbage in it, but man, it is so oily and creamy. Come on. But the next Transformer, most likely I'm going to, well, there's two of them right now I'm eyeballing. This Optimus Prime with the upgrade kit. I have an idea what I'm going to price him out at because of the two upgrade kits that I used on him. One of my knockoff Megatrons, I think, is going to go. And it's not the G1 Megatrons, it's the kit-bashed Hegemon that's up there. I always hated that Megatron, but now that we got the new age, what's it, Romulus or whatever you call him, and obviously Hasbro released a very cartoon accurate Megatron robot that obviously turns into a tank that everybody was poo-pooing on. I've got used to having him up on my shelf there, as is. But obviously he transforms into a tank. But that new age Romulus that I got there is satisfactory enough. So I think the sacrificial lamb is going to be Hegemon. And I actually kit bashed him from two different Hegemons because they came out with two different versions. I do have the stock and silencer that I decided to keep. But I definitely am probably going to sell him. There's a Giants jersey I'm going to sell. There's the Cara Dune action figure I'm most likely going to sell. I got to make space. I need to clear out stuff. It's too much. But again, I hope that all of this turns around. But I'm definitely feeling it. And I know some of you are feeling it as well. I wish I had answers, and I don't. The only thing I can think of is that either eBay is intentionally suppressing listings, which then falls into the realm of skepticism and, all that kind of nonsense. Because I see my listings at the top. Having 100% status, my listings go to the top. Could it be a algorithm issue? Possibly, arguably. But I just think it has more to do, and it has nothing to do. Well, also, you got to watch out that people do overprice you on shipping. I do everything I can. I measure my boxes. I write on my boxes. I got multiple ways of measuring my boxes, as a matter of fact, so I don't forget which box this is. This is the Pepperball tank. Which is already listed over at my eBay store. The boxes are starting to pile up that I already have pre-packed that are ready to go out the door as soon as they're purchased, but I can't make people buy things if they don't have the money for it or they're not interested in it. And quite frankly, that's the reality of this business. Unless you have something that is so extravagant that people are chasing after, I don't know what else to say. And it's either me or my AC is just running and it's not running cold enough. Yeah, it's exactly it. And I just changed the filter too. So it can't be the filter. That's because that radiant heat that's coming through my living room window here, man, you can feel it. If you put your hand at least an inch off, at least an inch to 2 inches off my window, you can feel the radiant heat pouring through my window here. And I got my door closed, which I almost never do. It's that hot outside. Alexa, what's the current temperature?
Right now, it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep, we're going to kiss 100 today. There's no doubt about it. By the time that clock reaches 2 to 3, maybe even 4, we'll be at 100 today. No question about it. But I wish I had answers, folks. I'm not the know-it-all guru of eBay. I only know what I know through my own personal experiences and observations. I wish I could change it. I refuse to pay eBay any more money than what they're getting out of me. They are already asking for 13% of your cut. And then you have to pay tax. And then at the end of the tax season, if you make over 20 grand, until Trump is out of office, you don't get a 1099K. But if you do get one, you got to pay tax, potentially. I wish I had answers, and I don't. I know how to spend less money as an eBay seller when it comes to shipping and packing. You've got to invest in a digital scale. You have to have a digital scale, and you have to have either a tape measure or a stick rule or an old-fashioned ruler like I already showed on camera. If you're good at wrapping boxes, get some brown paper and some shoe boxes if you can find any, and wrap them that way. Take the time. You saw what I did. I mean, here. There you go. Eventually, you do make back the cost of what you put in this, but right here is probably like 50 cents worth of work that I did. No joke. Just because I used brown paper and tape that I bought today. And that cost will carry over into whatever item sells next. Or if you have to for smaller items, take the time to buy batches of small boxes like this. So you don't have to overcharge your customers, because shipping is the big one that I see all the time, that people are getting ripped off by these eBayers. And some of these eBayers think they're slick, and then you question them. It's like, why are you selling, you're shipping a baseball card. Like eBay, to their credit, any baseball card over $20, you're supposed to charge ground shipping. But yet, some of these people are charging $20, $30 for shipping or whatever it is. or they're overcharging and charging you like $3 for a card. When from my eBay sales, $1.07 to $1.32 is perfectly fine to charge for shipping. And you will eventually make that money back. I mean, I've got another probably 200 envelopes still. I still got card sleeves here. I got plenty of plastic sleeves I wrap my cards in, tamper-proof labels, so I'm good for a while with that. But, oh man, I hate to admit it, folks. I can feel that heat coming through my window. I think I'm going to call it quits. I'm actually starting to get a little sweaty. But listen, everybody, thank you for joining in this live stream. Like always, I deeply appreciate it. I'm just like the rest of you folks who are eBay sellers. I'm feeling it just like you're feeling it, just like everybody else across this big red, white, and blue accident that we have here. In my opinion, it's the tariffs, it's the wars, it's the conflicts, it's the high gas prices, it's the holiday season as far as the summer is concerned with the 4th of July. People are traveling on vacation. There's a lot of other reasons. And of course, you got people trying to scam and rip you off with overcharging for shipping. And people are very skeptical with their money right now, and I don't blame them. That's why I do live streams like this. This is why I do YouTube shorts when I pack and prepare, items that I sell, so that there is transparency there, and I'm on camera a lot, just in case something goes wrong, as far as that's concerned. What's my next review? I guess we can segue into that, and I'm not going to take a lot of time because, like I said, I can feel that heat coming through my window. It's hot. I'm probably going to have to lower my AC down to 70, and I already just dropped it down to 72. You know what I could do for the time being is this. Get that ceiling fan going. But I don't know what I'm going to review next. I mean, I could review anything at this point, which is good. And I'm going to have to make room for my review units. I should do Shockwave next. Because I had an original, well, I didn't have an original Shockwave at first. I think he was called Galaxy Man from Radio Shack, which was the imported Japanese original version of Shockwave until, I guess, Hasbro bought the rights from Takara, and my brother threw it across the living room and broke it on me, so my dad bought me an actual Shockwave, but I haven't owned one of these in years. Maybe I should review this next. Right there. I still have a very expansive backlog of Star Trek stuff, Transformers, He-Man to review. It's just picking and choosing and finding the right time, but I think after I do this live stream, I'm going to lay down for a little bit because, again, I can feel that heat coming through my windows here, and that's not good. I'm getting a bit of a headache. And I just took aspirin as soon as I started this live, and it's not helping. But I'm going to end it right here, folks. I'm going to go lay down. Listen, thank you, everybody, for checking out this live stream. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications. Check out my eBay store if you're interested in baseball cards or anything outside of that. I got 700 listings right now currently. And if you want to make a donation to the channel, donate to my coffee link. That link is also in the description box below. Everybody, I just appreciate you all being here and having this discussion. I think it's important to talk about things like this because I know I'm not the only one that's feeling the pinch. And, again, I can't be like a Dark Side Phil or, Jeremy Hamley and try to browbeat my customer base into buying things because I'm a consumer too, and if I don't feel like spending money, I'm not. So you'll never hear me trying to browbeat my customers into that sort of thing. But this discussion was more for just an observation as to what's going on with eBay sellers and eBay selling, in particular in the last couple of weeks. So thank you, everybody. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. Check me out for the next one. I really appreciate your input. Big Mama, like always, you're welcome here. And everybody who hasn't been here before, thank you for participating. Take care. Stay cool. Check on the elderly. Alexa, what's the temperature currently? Alexa, what's the current temperature?
Right now, it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
95 degrees, folks. Yeah, I'm laying down. There's no way I'm going back outside today. Take care, everybody, and just be careful in this heat because, like I said, I can feel it coming through my window, and I got my windows closed. God bless you all. I'll see you soon.